morning, dear hearts. We are now at lesson 277. Please subscribe. Today's lesson, let me not bind your son with laws I made. I'm sure that if you've been doing the lessons in this year, this will remind you of the lesson. You may not remember the exact number. It happens to be 76, that I am under no laws but God's laws. In this world, things are called laws, but they're actually simply agreements. They're things that we have agreed to, and they are generally not in our best interest. They're also generally not true because they shift and they change. They are made up by the ego mind. And we have things, they're like laws of finance or nutrition or health, conditions. They're all conditions, but they shift and change. They're not the same for everyone, but God's laws are constant and real. And their only real law from God is the law of love. So if we just go back to yesterday's lesson about the Word of God, God's promise to us, my son is pure and holy as myself. That's a law. That's one of God's laws for us. Another one of, you could say God's laws is love is only real if it is unconditional. And God's love is always going to be unconditional. So we start today's lesson, and it's in the prayer portion, and it says, your son is free, my father. Let me not imagine I have bound him with the laws I made to rule the body. Laws of finance, nutrition, or health, these are all laws of the body. He is not subject to any laws I made by which I tried to make the body more secure. And it's not really more secure, but it's more in bondage. These laws hold us back. They hold us in. They keep us attached to the ego world. They keep us attached to the ego. He is not changed. Your son is not changed by what is changeable. He is not slave to any laws of time. He is as you created him. There it is, one more time. We are as God created us. That will not change. That is a law from God, that we are created by him, and we are not changeable. We remain constant and consistent. We are as we were created. A thought, an idea doesn't leave its source. We have not left the source from whence we came. We are unchangeable. We are still, always, now, and forevermore will be part of God. He is as you created him because he knows no law except the law of love. God's law, the law of love. And we can, blend in many things to this. Buster. We can blend in many things to this. But what is really important is the last line in paragraph 1 of our relevant thought, what is the Christ? He abides unchanged forever in the mind of God. Let me not bind your son with laws I made, because the laws I made are not real. I have something I wrote down last year or whenever about if God's laws are false, then nothing is true, because truth is true and nothing else is true. And God's laws will always be true, and they will not change. The law of love is not going to change. All of a sudden, God isn't going to shift and change, and only some of his children are loved. All of God's children are loved. All of God's children are meant to come home as quickly as we can wake up. The second part of the lesson today says, let us not worship idols, nor believe in any law idolatry would make to hide the freedom of the Son of God. Laws of finance, nutrition, or health hide the freedom to the Son of God because they bind us into certain conditions, regulations, and agreements. that are not real. But in this world, we might tend to believe them, that at a certain age, we are meant to be ill and to die. At a certain age, we are meant to have a metabolism that doesn't work, and we suffer the consequences of that. That there is a law of lack from the ego, that there is never enough. These are not God's laws. These are not things agreed upon by our source, by the one who created us. These are things that were made up by the ego mind. He is not bound except by his beliefs. My beliefs are the only things that will hamper me and constrict me and hold me into a space that I do not want to stay in. But it's what I believe. What I look upon and I believe to be real, I will invest in. Remember, I will not value what is valueless. The beliefs from the ego have no value. Yet what he is far beyond his faith in slavery or freedom. He is free because he is his Father's son. I am as God created me. And he cannot be bound unless God's truth can lie and God can will that he deceive himself. If God's laws are false, then nothing is true. And God's laws are not false. And what is true is that we indeed are created by God, have not left our source, and God says to us, my son is pure and holy as myself, and that is a truth, that is a law of love, that is a law of God. That's it for today. I hope this helped. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please comment, please pray. Please be here tomorrow. And it's really, in some ways, it is a continuation of this idea about bondage. So be well, be happy, be safe, and pray. We have places for them to go. Namaste.